Welcome everybody into the second webinar in the history of OneClubNet, and certainly I'm excited. This is Rick Coffey, Vice President of Club Partnerships, and I thank you for registering for today. Today, Glenda, Miller, and myself, we are very excited to go over how we do what we do. This will be an ongoing series that will continue throughout the next calendar year as we walk through some of the different models and ways that we benefit our club partners around the world. Today we're going to be looking at one of the most popular items here in the early onset, garnering brand partnerships for our club clients. Many of you who are on the call today, I have had a past relationship with, but for those of you who do not know me, I again am Rick Coffey, VP of Club Partnerships for OneClubNet for North America. I was a membership director at 3 private clubs in the Chicagoland area, so I am part of the club world, understand the opportunities and challenges that everyone here in this industry go through. And today I'm joined by one of my colleagues, Glenda Miller, who is Director of Events, Experiences, and Engagements, and also comes from the club world. So I'd like to bring you in. Glenda, do you mind telling the audience a little bit about your background?
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you, Rick. I started out in catering sales and have worked as a catering director as well as a private event director. I have done, I lost track of the weddings and many corporate events as well as private events, and entered the club world about 2 years ago, working for Club Corp. So that really helped me by working with membership so closely to understand exactly what it is we're doing now.
Excellent. Yeah, it was awesome to bring you in. You've been great for us with some of our initial clients. You're in the Dallas area. Myself, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. So we have a nice partnership there in place. So we're going to get going today. Glenda, if you mind sliding ahead for me.
There we go.
A little bit of housekeeping here for today for everybody on the call. We are going to try to keep this around 30 minutes as far as the presentation, and we want to really have about 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A at the end. So as this slide shows, down at the bottom of your screen, you should be able to see a little button that says Q on it and Q&A. That'll open up the screen or the little box that you see here on the right with the Q&A. Please let us know some questions that you have throughout the presentation, and then from that point on, once we get to the Q&A, I'll read some of the questions and either myself or Glenda will answer those. So we want to set up basically how we're going to go through this, so we have a little index of how this will go. I'm going to start off by talking about how our club clients actually join us on the OneClubNet ecosystem. So I'll cover that in the next slide. Then I will go into entering information into the club management system, which is what we call the CMS tool. And then Glenda, talk about the next few areas that you'll be going through, if you would.
Right. I'll give you guys a brief overview of creating a club dossier, our initial event consultation, the brand opportunities discussion, sponsorship opportunities, our event execution, and then we'll go into Q&A.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let me take the first step, since this is basically what I do on a day in and day out basis of bringing on clubs into the portfolio or the ecosystem that we call it. Amazingly, a lot of people are pretty surprised with how affordable this is to join. Basically, a club, the only thing that a club is paying to OneClubNet is a $1,000 annual service charge. And from that, we commit to doing at least a minimum of 4 engagements per year for you through our brand partnerships. And so that even nets the $1,000 down to basically $250 per event, where we're trying to then make an incredible return on investment for you through the engagements and the sponsorships that we're going to be doing. Our goal with this is to bring really a lot of revenue, a lot of buzz to your club by injecting some of our brand sponsorships into that. And here on the screen, you can see the 5 revenue sources that we really try to help on. Today, like I said, in the first volume of this webinar series, we're going to really highlight the sponsorship, which is where we're trying to inject our brand partners into some of your current events that you already have on your portfolio of events. But we also can do curation, which is helping you create a brand new event. leveraging your facilities that you have there, your ballroom, your smaller meeting rooms. We want to try to bring in some outside business for you through Glenda and her team. We also want to allow you to promote your club membership options and other promotions that you might have throughout our entire network on OneClubNet app. And then as well as access, as we continue to bring on clubs around the world, your members are allowed to see what clubs we have on our platform and request access right through the app through there. So those are the main big 5 areas. But today we're going to mainly stick on the sponsorship. Glenda, if you would. And thankfully, we did launch June 1st, and incredibly, honestly, through that time, we already have 88 clubs in 16 countries around the world. And some of them you can see here on the screen. We just did an event for Westboro Country Club in the top row. We just brought on Bull Valley in Chicago. There's a lot of great names on here. Serenata Beach Club down by me, Center Club in Baltimore. There's just a wonderful mix inside of here, and it continues to grow. I think we've had 5 in the last week come on as well. And our whole goal, again, is just to partner alongside each of these club clients and really maximize what we can do and becoming sort of an invisible marketer with you, where we can use our brand partnerships that really nobody has ever had before to the scale that we do. And we just assist the event team in trying to bring on a little bit of energy through our brand sponsorships. And that's our goal, is just to help you bring in revenues and help you retain the members that you have. And so second step, once you're on the platform, really the only work that anybody of our club clients really has to do, and I help with this, so once you come on, we send you this tool that you're seeing here on the screen called the Club Management System, or the CMS. And what you're seeing on the main screen is My Club View. This is where you would just put in some basic information about your club. And this is the information that would be published on the OneClubNet app for members around the world of different clubs to be able to see about your club, so that if they are traveling to where you're located because of that access piece, they would be able to see what you have to offer, a little bit about your club, where you're located, and that's where they could request that access to possibly use your facilities, which is something that you never have to turn on if you don't want to. But if you want to have that potential for some reciprocity, it would allow that to happen right here through the club management system. And then down the left-hand side of the screen in the gray area, you'll see some of the tabs that I talked about as far as our 5 revenue sources. You'll see some such tabs as curated events, curated sponsorship, promotion, third-party events. Those are templated areas that we've gone through, and simply when you want to let us know that you want us to help you with a certain area, you would click on those tabs and it would walk you through the information that you would need. You would put in that information, and you'd hit the publish button, and that would send the information to us at OneClubNet. So the goal of this club management system is to be the portal between your club and our company, where you can send us any information that you need, and then Glenda will talk about what we do next here. Glenda, if you would.
I'm right there.
And I think we're going to transition over to you, where we start talking about the club dossier.
Okay, so what is a club dossier and why do we need one? Very important questions.
Mm-hmm.
A complete and accurate club dossier is the most valuable tool we can have to ensure the success of your club. And what is it? We'll touch on these 5 points. It's your club information about your team, different curated member events that we can assist with, event sponsorship, and also private events. This is super basic, and I'm sure you guys are wondering, like, why do I even have to talk about this? Because believe it or not, a lot of people don't understand how important it is. So the basic information that we need from the very beginning, your club address, your phone number, the website, the amenities your club offers, because we all know that every club is very, very different. The culture around your club. This isn't with Boy George. This is actually the culture that you guys create with your team at the club. We want to know all about it. And a short bio of that, you'll see this example from, I'm not sure if you can see my pointer or not.
Yeah, wonderful.
From the club at Pelican Preserve. So hats off to them for putting this on there. We'd love it. But it tells us the year you were founded, the type of club that it is, how many members we have. And you see the website here. and then their little bio, which is fantastic. It really helps build the story of your club, which is extremely important when we go to brands and sponsors, that we can tell them a little bit about who you are and what we would like to do for you. So your team, because you guys are super important and you're part of our family now. We're all part of this ecosystem, right? Our little hive. So we want to know all about everyone on your team. And we want to ensure that when we have different types of events, if we have a golf event, I want to know how to get in touch with the golf pro, or I need to know who your food and beverage director is. So we just want to make sure we have the correct team members listed so that we can continually develop that relationship as well.
I want to just come back in here on that, Glenda. A lot of the questions that I get, and I don't blame them, a lot of vendors try to come in and sell a club something, and it ends up being a lot more work for somebody there at the club. I want to reiterate, with OneClubNet and that partnership in place, again, just the loading of the information into the CMS is really the only work. As Glenda will talk about, we will do some phone calls where we ask you some questions, but it's really our goal just to pick your brains, use your knowledge that you have about the club and your members, and then we go out and really do all the coordination of the brands and everything. So what I want to reiterate is there's really no work that we're putting on your plate through this partnership, which our current clients, I think, have seen early on and appreciate.
Right. It's no more difficult than a Facebook profile, right? And everybody has one of those. So,
correct.
Okay. So let's get into our curated member events and what exactly that means. We completely understand that your members are very unique, and so is your club. So we want to make sure we craft engagement opportunities for your members. And these social events are custom made for your club members and their families. So the information we need to do this, we need to understand who your members are. That comes in the form of demographics. Also their interests. We want to know, are they more athletic? Or is it a fun young crowd? Is it an older crowd that really loves tennis? We just want to know as much as possible about your members. And it's easily answered in a few short questions. Mm-hmm. On that same vein, we want to know all about their personalities. And then, very important part, we want to know what existing events and programs you guys offer for your clubs. This helps us to insert or enhance what you are already doing. And then we need to understand if there are any special needs that the members of your club may have.
Yeah, so basically you're taking this information, Glenda, right, so that when you approach the brands on their behalf, you're able to really try to find that right fit for the club. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely. So this is what we're all about. I'm just going to touch on it briefly here and then go in a little bit more detail in a few minutes. So event sponsorship and what that actually means, because I think there's a big difference between a brand engagement or a curated event and an event sponsorship. So we bring in a sponsor. It could be a member of our network of a brand or a corporation, and we garner that sponsorship for your club events. And once again, we're creating another unique opportunity to engage your members. So a few examples of sponsorship events would be golf tournaments, yacht races, tennis tournaments, or charitable events that your club hosts. These are great opportunities for our brands and our corporations to come in and assist with that and offer a sponsorship.
Yeah, and a big reason that we chose brand sponsorships as the first series that we really want to touch on fully is the fact that this is where most of our clubs have really wanted to go. And it does help the brands, because when you have a current event that's already on the schedule, and you've done it for a few years now, you can really tell us, here's how many people usually attend, members compared to guests, here's what we do, here's the flow. And those kind of things are much easier for us to then go to a brand and try to get them on board. When we're creating a brand new event, it might take a little bit more time and a little bit more effort. So sponsorship is really where a lot of people have targeted in on first.
Exactly. For good reason.
Yes.
So I'll just touch on the final aspect of what we do for you guys. And that's, we like to identify opportunities we can for your club to leverage your event spaces. This is working in coordination with your catering director, your private event director, that we can bring in additional events, whether it's a meeting, educational entities like alumni associations coming in for a mixer or happy hour, charitable events, individuals coming in for a wedding or rehearsal dinner, luncheons, etc. So we always work within our network to promote your club. So the information we need about this is extremely important, because we understand, are extremely respectful of your club and its space and your rules. So we would love to see pictures because everybody loves to see a picture straight off the bat. We also need to see floor plans so that we understand how the space is laid out and what could fit in there. Menus are extremely important because, believe it or not, the client will ask for that first and foremost. Anybody that's done that for a living knows that that's true. And that's all sorts of menus, from weddings to your conference menus, your breakfast to luncheons, etc. And then your vendor list. We completely appreciate and understand that that's a special relationship with your local vendors, and we want to enhance that relationship. It would be a lot more work and trouble for us to go out and find vendors on our own. So we'll just work off your vendor list and keep everyone happy. That's great. So all of this, oh, sorry, Rick, go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell everybody here on the call, this is Glenda's specialty. This is where she just came from for us. And I mean, I feel bad that she didn't get to really go into full detail on leveraging the club space, because she could talk for hours about this. But this will be something that we'll continue to talk about in future areas. And honestly, is probably the biggest revenue source that OneClubNet can bring to you, because pretty much every club, I'm sure, has meeting space that is being left unutilized and still has the ability to have some events in it throughout the year. And Glenda can bring her expertise and her network all across the country to help out with this. So
we'll just prepare everyone now. That's a 3-hour webinar in January. So just block your schedule. No, I'm just kidding.
That's great.
So we'll go back to how all this works. The initial event consultation. I know Carrie Miller is on this call, on this webinar, so she knows we've done this already. So this is what you can expect. We'll set up a time, a convenient day and time for you guys through an email. I'll try to keep it 30 to 45 minutes. I can't promise anything because I really want to know all about you. And then I want you to know all about me. And so we'll talk a lot. But most importantly, we'll go over your club. All the key events you're having, what you really think is the most important thing for us to focus upon at that moment. It's also a great time for me to answer your questions and for you to answer my questions. And once again, just building that dialogue, building the team, and helping us understand exactly how we can work for you.
And I want to certainly interject here from the current clients that we have, and you just mentioned Carrie at Milwaukee Yacht Club. This actually is an area that a lot of our clients really enjoy, because again, for you guys at the club level, basically what we're trying to do is just be of assistance to you, where if you had the opportunity to talk to any brand or try to inject something into your member events that you've never been able to do before on your own, that's what we're trying to bring in here. And so this time that Glenda's talking about is really just a brainstorming session, where if you could bring something to your members in this specific event, what would it be? And throughout that time, Glenda would be taking notes, and that's her job then, is to go out to our brand partners all across the world and try to find something that fits that need. So I think everybody would really enjoy this consultation.
Thanks.
Yes.
So let's talk about brand opportunities. Once again, we're just going to kind of touch on this, and then we'll move on to the sponsorships. So our brand partners extend special event opportunities, which add additional interest as well as fun for the events at your club. And how they present themselves is in this form. We could have pop-up shops, tastings, drive events, fashion shows, special member engagements, in-store bespoke events where we would take a select number of members and take them to a boutique or a store. We also have exclusive bespoke travel experiences, and we have a few on the books right now. Rick and I would love to talk to you about those. So if you guys are curious about them, please reach out after the webinar. We'd love to tell you all about that.
They're incredible. I think everybody who's seen it, our client down at Old Cypress in Naples, they showed their members, and it was created quite a buzz there to see some of the bespoke experiences that we have with our brand partners. But what I also want to touch on here, Glenda, is you can see some of these amazing names on the right that we have written partnerships with, but it doesn't stop there, does it, Glenda? Again, based on the needs of the club during that consultation, if they think that they need something special that we might not have in the portfolio right now, having those partnerships allows us to really go out and find new brands, which you recently did. Is that right?
I did. I had a company approach me, and actually they approached me before I even came on with OneClubNet, and it was Craft House Cocktails. They really wanted to be in the clubs. They wanted to be in just the right clubs. So they came to me, said, we can distribute to these certain states. Is that possible? I looked at it and said, absolutely, yes, we have a strong presence in these states, and here's what we can do for you. So through that, we were able to start out with a sponsorship to get them in, to test the waters out, see how receptive the members were to their product. It went great. And so now we're working on a plan that we can get them into more and more clubs in the states which they currently distribute to. And then they're working on other states like Wisconsin, where I told them we have a huge presence, and that is motivating this company not only, to further their reach as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you have the little B on here, because this is truly the buzz area that when I show these partnerships that we have in place, it gets a lot of people going. And we just had a question come through from one of my friends, and so we'll talk about that at the end as well.
Ooh, I like that. Sorry, I prematurely hit the thing. So yeah, what's the buzz all about, and why are we all here today? Sponsorship opportunities. And what exactly does this mean? And sponsorship means that we have relationships with brands and corporations that we can bring to your club. And what we do at your club is they'll present themselves in the form of a product or a monetary gift in exchange for promotion to your club membership, as well as testimonials from club leaders and members. And you can see here, I use Craft House as my example. On the lower right, you have the social media posting that we did, to bring their name out. Also Westboro Country Club and OneClubNet, that we all work together to make this happen. And then you have the testimonial from the food and beverage director at Westboro. Craft House cocktails were a big success. The members enjoyed them, and we have some left to share with members who were not part of the event. The owner who drove them to me from Chicago was a super nice guy, very helpful and knowledgeable.
Yeah, I want to inject back in this, because I think this really gives a little testimonial on why these brands are so engaged in trying to get in front of your members. So Craft House Cocktails, as Glenda said, is in Chicago, but they didn't have the license for Missouri yet at that point to ship it directly. And so the owner of Craft House Cocktails wanted to get in front of these members so badly in St. Louis that he drove all of this product 5 hours from St. Louis to Chicago, got there, showed Daniel all the product, gave him a demo of it, and it couldn't have gone better. But that's sort of the hunger that some of these brands have, because your members are that specific demographic that they want, and Craft House really wants to be on the high end, and so it's a perfect partnership.
It was amazing. And so if you're in Illinois, Florida, Texas, or California, give me a call about Craft House. And
we got a lot of clubs in those areas.
We do. Now, this is our final point, and it's probably the most important point. It's event execution. So this is when all the pieces of the puzzle come together. It's absolutely fundamentally crucial that everyone involved from club to sponsor understand the elements of the event. Amazingly, this begins once we understand your desire for sponsorship. This is when we begin crafting your story. And to do this, I fall back on the fundamentals of good journalism: who, what, when, where, why, and how. So we'll just break it down a little bit. We want to know who is a sponsorship benefiting. And if it's for charity, we want to know all about that. We want to know how many years you guys have been active with this charity. Just really start to develop that story to grab that sponsor and have them come to your club. We want to know who your audience is and who our contact at the club is. Also, who's documenting the member reactions during this event, so that we can build our volume of those testimonials, which are so very important. Word of mouth is the best advertising you can have by far. Then we want to know what is the event? What is it all about? How many years have you had it? Oh, that's a how. I just messed up myself. Getting all excited. We just want to know exactly what it is and what's brought it to your club. And we know when does the event take place. It's crucial that we understand the specific dates and times. It may sound silly, but there's always a setup time, and this could be a huge event where you have days of setup. So we want to understand when we can come in, deliver product, set the product up, set up whatever else it may be, and then when do we strike, when do we take down and need to be out and have everything cleaned up. We also want to know where it takes place. Is this an event on the golf course? Is this something inside the club? We just need to know where it is, and also where our sponsor is going to be seen or set up at the club, and where you guys will be advertising for the event. Is it online? Is it in print? How soon before the event does it happen? We just need to know these simple questions. And then also, why? Why is the event taking place? The story behind the event, as I mentioned before, it's tantalizing, and it's a way to grip those sponsors. Then maybe one of the most important things, how is the event run? Who will be there working it? What presence will we have? Are there special breaks, like happy hours, dinners, et cetera, that may present additional sponsorship opportunities? And we ask these questions. It may sound silly, but we ask these questions so that we can think outside the box and insert some additional opportunities where we see them.
Excellent.
All right, Rick, we're to question and
That's
answer.
excellent. Yeah, I got to that point, and it looks like our goal of having some interest come through was good. So thank you, Glenda. A lot of that was yours, but again, what I'm hoping that came through to a lot of you is a lot of the work that's being done is going to be done from our end, coordinating everything with the brands, talking to your team about the event, making sure everything good. So I can't reiterate that enough. What you guys are doing at the club, you do a lot, you have a lot on your plate, and we're not trying to add to that. We're trying to be there right by you and really partner with you. So it looks like we have about 6, and that might fit our time frame pretty good here, Glenda. First question I have is, what is the required time frame for an event in the future for sponsorships to make it best go off? So I think what they're asking is, if we had a perfect time frame, what it would be, 60 days, 90 days, what would you want to have to be able to reach out for proper sponsorship?
And sponsorship is a little bit tricky because we do need to reach out and make sure we have a good fit. So I think 60 to 90 days is ideal.
That's good too. I think with that amount of time, we could probably find the sponsorship and help promote it, which is very important, because one of our goals is to have the participation at these events dramatically rise. And if it's a ticketed event, to bring in more revenue for you as well. So we're not only trying to find the sponsorships, we want to help you promote it through our channels as well. Second question, I like this one. How is the fee for OneClubNet only $1,000 if we don't charge the club for sponsorship? Seems low. Thankfully, I have had that question many times. What you got to understand is we're not trying to make money off of our club clients. We're partnering with you, and we actually make money from the brand sponsorships themselves. So whatever we can get for the club, as far as the sponsorship, we also negotiate with the brands, because it's very important for them to obviously get in front of your club members. And so we make our money from the brand. So what's nice there is we're very motivated to bring you as many opportunities as possible throughout the year. So I think with that partnership in set, it's good. And the $1,000 is basically an initiation fee for us to come on, because we are trying to bring you a lot of value through the OneClubNet app with promotion and access as well. So thank you for that question. I think back to you a little bit, Glenda. Are each of the sponsorships one-off, or are some of them sort of turnkey? That's a good question.
It is. Well, our goal is to have a bank of sponsorships so that we can plug the appropriate ones into the appropriate events. So, and it's a case-by-case basis. I wish I could say it was all black and it was all white, but it's not. There's a ton of gray there, and we'll just go back. We'll shift back to Craft House, since we've been using them as an example. They came on and did a sponsorship in Missouri. Well, they can't legally sell in Missouri, but they can give it to them. So they delivered that. They sponsored that event. Now, all future events, will they be sponsorships? Probably not. And they would like to sell their product as well. And that's why we're partnering together to build their business, to build ours, and to bring your members something that they really like. So it's, I wish I could just cut and dry it and say, yes,
I think some of the newer people that I've heard, or brands that I've heard you talk about with me, seem like they want to do this on a large number of scale throughout the year. And so at that point, I think we do have to make it more of a turnkey almost, where we can sort of get it in place very quickly, which would be great for everybody involved.
Absolutely. So some may be sponsorships, others brand engagements. We will take it by case scenario.
Yes, excellent. Let me see one more question I have here. How does a new brand become a partner, Glenda? Say we have the relationship with those that we should seen on the Beehive, but how would you, in a quick sense, how would you go find a new brand for us to partner with?
Well, that's fun. That's it's part of the fun of what I do. Reaching out, developing that communication, and at that point, there's a lot of listening. We listen to the brand. We listen to what their desires are. We evaluate if we can meet those needs, and then present a proposal to them, and basically develop a relationship that way. And it's a lot of communication and making things happen, but it's a fun part. And it's, once again, word of mouth. I've heard from new brands that I'm pursuing from friends, and also research online. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's good, because you've done a great job with that. I mean, you've really, in your initial conversations with some of our clients, I know you've really gone out to try to find some new things that they really wanted, and I think that's something you appreciated.
Thank goodness I'm a shopper, right?
Yeah, yeah, that does help. All right, is it possible, I like the eagerness in this one, is it possible to do more than 4 engagements per year? I say we try to do a minimum of 4. How many do you think we could realistically do for a club in a given year?
Well, once again, I love this webinar for this purpose. We need to differentiate between brand engagement and sponsorship. So brand engagements, that's bringing in someone for a pop-up shop or a fashion show or something like that. So all of that depends upon the brands that we have in our queue, and the markets that they're looking to be in, and setting that calendar out. Since we are starting out and we're so very new, it's all very exciting right now, and we want to get as much on the calendar as possible. And that, I think, will begin unfolding more and more in the coming months. Hopefully we just are able to insert as many as possible. But right now, I think keeping it at 4, and I like to say, because I like to give people what they want, I like to say 4 to 6 is a good amount to set that expectation level. And if I come to you more and say, hey, I have so-and-so that wants to do this, and, oh, do you have any spot, a time frame in April that we can bring in so-and-so? Is that okay? That's the best case scenario, is that I'm reaching out to you on a continual basis and saying, I have someone who wants to come into your club.
Yeah, it's a good point. And again, if we're trying to do one-off customized things, I think the 4 is probably the most realistic. But if we start to get in the scenario where we have multiple brands wanting to do something very specific that they can replicate very easy, that might allow us to get up into that 6 range in a given year. Another one here, Glenda, how do you make the sponsorships not look so salesy to members? I've gotten this one during a lot of my demos as well. They just want to make sure they're at a private club. Their members don't really want to feel like they're being sold to. How do we try to tell the brands, how do we make that feel right when they do the engagements?
Well, once again, there's a big difference between sponsorship and a brand engagement. So a brand engagement, they are selling to your client, and that is an excellent opportunity for your members.
It could be like a trunk show.
Absolutely.
It's expected, yeah.
You come into the club to do something you'd be doing anyway, and you see this fabulous product right in front of you. I mean, I would love that. I don't have to go anywhere. I can just walk into my club that I already love, and there's a product that's fantastic that, I want to buy for gifts or for myself or what have you, right there. That's fantastic. Yeah. So in that regard, yes, we will be selling to you. That's the purpose. For the sponsorships, those won't look like sales. Those are gifts. And a good example is I'm working with a high-end watch brand right now. And we were on a call today discussing a few things. And I mentioned an event coming up and said, this is an opportunity at this one club. And she got very excited and said, can we do a giveaway? I think that would be good. I said, absolutely, we can do a giveaway. So that won't look salesy at all. You have a gift. It's a charitable event that's happening here in September. And, and then when I mentioned where it was, she said, oh, we don't have a strong presence there. So it just opened up this whole new dialogue of, well, great, we have 4 clubs there. And it just snowballs from there. So as you can see, it's a lot of dialogue, a lot of communication, and just letting the pieces fall where they may.
Great. think the last one, and we can end here. Somebody just asked if there's any more examples that we have of what we can do in place. And I know we did some things pre-launch with a couple clubs that we could speak about, and then maybe you can just talk about some events that people have shown interest in that you might be working on right now, Glenda. Just as far as giving everybody on here maybe a little glimpse of what might be possible through some of these sponsorships.
Um,
I know that's a
yeah,
tough one.
I'm like, wow, yeah, that's great. I just hate to ever put something out and not know that it's going to come to fruition. So, I mean,
Let's
I've given it.
maybe just talk about like what type of events are you hearing that a lot of clubs want to maybe try to get these from? Are they member guest tournaments? Are they trunk shows? Are you seeing anything there?
Well, there's all sorts. I mean, we have a fashion show coming up in December
Okay.
for Old Cypress that we're putting together. We have an event coming up for Milwaukee Yacht here in a couple weeks, and I'm trying to get plenty of sponsors together for that. It's it's as varied as a menu from restaurant to restaurant. You know, all of your clubs are so very different. So we can lean back on, you know, what we've discussed with the pop-up shops and the trunk shows and the drive events and the tastings. We do have a wine brand that's come on that's extremely exciting, and they want to do these beautiful dinners, these wine dinners. So that's a situation where we're looking for a very special and specific club to have those at. Um, and that's that's super fun to
Yeah.
start planning that, because I think, I know we want to do 18 dinners in 2019, and we're doing 2 in October. So,
Right.
um, that's something that's very exciting and fun.
Yeah, and I know pre-launch we did something for Diamond Oaks, which had Tesla involved with some of their vehicles coming out to, I believe it was part of a member guest stag night. During the
Mm-hmm.
day, Tommy Bahama came in with a sponsorship, or maybe you'd call that a brand engagement, where they were showing some of their new line during the day. Through that, I know we've brought Elaine Turner, which is a local brand in Texas, into a club as well. And then for the CMA show this year out in San Francisco, we did a launch party for OneClubNet, where we brought in some of our partnerships with some of our beverage companies and did giveaways with some cocktail companies there. It really can go. This is a tough question just because, again, it's so creative with Glenda and how the team comes up with these different items. But we should have more and more. I think if somebody checks back with us in a 3 months time, we could have a ton of evidence to show.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to acknowledge as well that we just saw the sponsorship at Westboro, that they brought in $1,500 of product.
Oh, great. Yeah.
There's your ROI right there. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's fantastic. So,
Yeah, the GM was quite happy there, a friend of mine, and to pay us $1,000 for a year and then make all of it back plus 500 on the first event. That's a pretty credible return right there. So, well, good, Glenda. Thank you for last time I went solo on this webinar. It was nice to have somebody here with me on this one, and I think our timing is good. We're about 38 minutes in. I do want to let everybody know we are recording this, and so everybody who has registered, once we have the recording up, you will get a link for the recording so that you can view it again with your team. If you need to show anybody else who could make the call today, you'll have that link probably within the next 24 hours. I really do appreciate all of the feedback and the question and answer time that came through here. That shows me a lot of great interest as well. And Glenda, just thank you. I appreciate what you're doing for us. And any parting tips for anybody or anything?
just have fun with it. I mean,
Yeah.
we're here to have a great time, and this is, I mean, that's what club life's all about, right? I mean, we're an entertainment industry basically, and it's all about expanding upon that.
Yeah,
So,
that's well said. I think if you do pursue a partnership, you'll see that it is a true partnership, and we actually are trying to do most of the work for you in that aspect. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time, and we will end the recording now and send you an email with a recording very soon. Thank
thank
you,
you.
everyone. Take care.